Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the rngendgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment. All right, episode 30. We're going to start a little bit differently this week with some pending changes in the game. I felt it was a good time for us to look forward and make some predictions. So we had the 2020 roadmap, and I wanted to talk about how we think that roadmap will play out, how it will impact the player base, will they be happy, etc. So with that, there's always a list of very critical or key things that we focus on, and typically a lot of the other content creators focus on. And I've seen a bit more noise recently on the first topic, which is character farming, release methods, and release cadence. And so, Frid, do you think we're going to still keep seeing 3 or 4 new characters every month through the rest of the year?
I think so. I don't see any evidence of them slowing down their release method. I mean, this is basically what they consider content. That's the moneymaker. So I think they'll continue to do it.
I agree with you. I see zero change in any of their business method or how they go about trying to get money. But I will say this, I am very concerned. We have 145 characters in 2 or 2.5 years worth of gameplay. I compare this game to others. They're not necessarily the exact same type of game, but I always look at kind of other games. And one that really struck me was League of Legends. They were introducing characters left, right, and center. And they got to the point where it actually caused so many problems. And we're seeing that already with Scopely Fox Next. That the amount of regression testing that you have to do. And for those that aren't familiar with service delivery life cycles and software development and all that, you have to, whenever you introduce changes to your code, you've got to make sure the rest of the code didn't break. We're already seeing that they aren't doing the level of testing needed across 145 characters. So League of Legends actually dramatically cut back its new characters. They have 150 characters. The game has been around, though, for 10 years. In the last 2+ years or so, they've really only released 7. And I think that's very telling. And they had to introduce new mechanics into a lot of the professional gameplay of multiple sets of bands and all this kind of stuff because it just got to be too much. And I think we're already at a critical mass state where most in-game players have more characters than they could ever use. Even in Blitz. Like, who wants to Blitz for 16 hours straight? Because they have 35 teams or 28 teams, whatever it is. So I do feel that we're at a critical mass point. We have more teams than we need in War. Got more teams, certainly more characters than we need in raids. So I do fear that this is a concern. And Frid, I think you had some thoughts about Hearthstone and how this kind of applied as well.
Yeah, before we go down there, okay. I wanted to ask, so when they slowed down their releases, what did they do? Anything to the existing characters? Is that how they kept things fresh? Did they introduce new modes? Like, what did that look like?
Yes, so they are always, every patch, they buff and nerf characters. And they fundamentally almost change the game. It's still the same mechanic. You go out there, you fight, you kill minions, you try and take out the base. But they fundamentally change a lot of the mechanics of the game. They'll change the items of the game. Every major patch, they're doing that, and that's similar to, Diablo's done a little of that. World of Warcraft has done that. A lot of games, buff and nerf characters or fundamentally change aspects to the game.
Gotcha. Okay, so, well, as you know, I played Hearthstone for many years. And they also had a similar challenge because, they're a collectible card game. So now you're dealing with, they have classes, which they actually only added 1 in the lifetime of the game. But cards is where it's at, where they add cards constantly. And it got to the point where the card pool was so large that trying to balance the game was almost impossible just to manage. So what they did is basically introduce the concept of wild versus standard on a year cycle. So basically, the last 3 sets, they release cards in sets, it's 3 a year, are the ones in kind of in effect for that following year. And then they retire the previous 3 to wild. So in wild, you have the entire card pool of everything that you could ever imagine. But then in standard, you only have the most recent stuff. And that way, some of these crazy cards that were broken, you just send to wild. They also call it Hall of Fame when you, let's say you have a character like Black
Put out to
Wolf.
pasture.
Right, it's too much and people are complaining. Instead of trying to nerf him, you just Hall of Fame him and he can be played in wild but not in standard. And I wonder if that's where we're going to go, because if they keep going, like by next year, there's going to be what? 200 plus characters? Like, what are we supposed to do with it? So that way, the idea is you put something in wild that is still gives you some of the rewards. So maybe there's a wild raid that it's crazy. You got to use the broken characters that you can no longer use in standard. You get rewarded, you get used. So if you invested in that, you don't lose out. But the competitive side, like Arena, would be kind of the more recent stuff. So that could be one solution. But it should come with more rewards and more good stuff, rather than just, hey, there's this wild area where you can do whatever you want, but there's really no point in playing there. Which it took Hearthstone a little bit to figure that out. But at least the daily rewards and all that stuff that they do have apply in wild. So if, you want to do Wild Blitz, I don't know, for some other resource, it would count towards your dailies, it will give you points and stuff, things like that. So what do you think of something like that? Do you think that could work?
I think they've got to do something. Either they have to cut down the cadence of characters, or they've got to go in some direction, because it's getting to the point where, again, we have way too much stuff. It's a resource-based game, and so you're either going to have to... fundamentally, we're already at that stage where select characters aren't used because they're old and haven't been touched. Mm-hmm. And everything that comes out has to be awesome and new, or at least the appearance of it, for them to make money. So there's already a huge backlog of characters that continue to be on the shelf, but they keep doing the Avenger rework and everything else. So I don't know. It's to the point where we've got more than we need is kind of my...
Yeah, and they definitely have shown they are not interested in nerfing anything ever. Right. And that's something that Hearthstone will have no problem doing, because the economy is different. You buy packs and all this other stuff. Basically, if they nerf a card, they reimburse you what's called dust. So it lets you craft another card. There's no such thing here. So if they were to nerf, let's say, Ghost Rider, and you have him at T14 and now he sucks, you wouldn't be happy. And I don't know how they could make you whole, right?
Well, it's a different concept too, because we have this whole, people care about these characters and that they've known them and seen them in TV shows and all that, whereas Hearthstone was a made-up kind of character. Certainly you really liked certain cards and used them, but it doesn't have nearly the same draw as some of the characters. So it'll be interesting. Let's put a pin in that one, just because I think we've talked about it a good bit and raised the point. But I'm curious as to what we'll see over the next 2 months. We'll revisit that a little bit later. Yep. Okay. So the next one that I wanted to talk about in our prediction wheel here is ISO 8. So it was supposed to come out in September. We are now halfway through September already. Well, nearly halfway. Mm-hmm. And we've not seen ISO 8 yet. Do you think it's coming as planned and communicated in September? Do you think it's going to be buggy like everything else we get? Is it going to be a whale fest that whales can just go out and buy a whole bunch of this? And then our other prediction of doom, will it be the downfall of Marvel Strike Force?
All right.
That's a lot there, so feel free to
I'll give you my rapid fire on these. So I think they will release it. They haven't shown... Well, they did sort of pre-announce and then held back after it got bashed. But I think after the second round, that's enough for them to say it's ready to go. And they want to create this new avenue to make money. So I expect them to release it in September. Will it be buggy? Of course, 100%. There's no way, as to your earlier point about number of characters, interactions, regression testing that is lacking. there's going to be something they miss, and then we'll be finding out when we play and complain as their test team. Uh, in terms of a whale fest, I really, I really hope not, but I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't make it that way. Because everything here, you can jump ahead of the line by spending money, which, hey, that's the name of the game. Is the increment enough to make it so ridiculous? Like red stars, which are very luck based. This is more controlled. So I think they're gonna do it like
Well, we think it's controlled. We think it's through the campaign. We think you have to grind to get it. But if people can just go buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be like gear or T4s, which is really expensive for most people. And the whales can just max out. It does sound like a very long grind. So I'm not sure how they're going to control it.
But... Yeah, I mean, we heard that it was going to be 20+% boost. So it's like another red star system on top of the red stars in terms of character boost. So for me, I do think it'll come out, but I think it's going to be late September. At least that's what the rumor is. It's late September. The fact that they haven't said anything else, and normally they kind of preview things a couple weeks in advance, makes me lean towards maybe it's not late September, it's early October, but it is coming. They've spent too much time, cost, money, etc. and time on that to not release it. Will it be a whale fest? Yes. In its initial release, the first few weeks, it won't be. But just like red stars that we've seen over the last few weeks, all of a sudden you can buy for $250 a one character promotion to 6 red stars. You will be able to buy one character up to whatever it is, the first tier. So yes, within the first 2 months, it'll become a whale fest. And will it cause the downfall of the game? I don't think so. I am concerned, though. I see in our Alliance family burnout, and we've talked about that. At the same time, though, this is most of us, if we've been playing this long, get excited about something new. So if nothing else, there'll be euphoria for a month or so, and people will be interested in it. Does do changes. So I don't think it will be like the death nail. As soon as it comes out, people say F it and leave. At least in terms of what we've been told about it. Now, how it comes out and all that, I think will play a significant portion into that.
Yeah, no, I think the way they recasted it definitely makes it more viable, even though a long end game kind of grind potentially. I don't know if it's going to be available for early game players. Not sure yet. Because it's grindy like that, then it levels the playing field a little bit, even against spenders. I hope, again. So I think it's going to be okay, but it's just another thing that if they don't fix other aspects, it's going to be another time sink, I suppose. Okay. Or maybe think it more like a permanent event that you go do your refreshes and move on.
We know it's going to be a campaign, so
yep.
I suspect that it will be like, the final chapter of Heroes, like the final chapter of Villains, like the Doom War campaign and in-game campaign. I don't think they will make it.
You don't think it'll be early? Yeah.
No, okay. I mean, new players have so much other stuff to worry about. Just getting the characters, much less putting more, red stars on them, much less ISO 8 on them. Okay.
Yep. All right.
What's next? PvP. So, Boy has Scopely been pushing PvP. So we've had now, this is our 3rd milestone event to do PvP and get red stars. So are we going to have a daily objective to do PvP? Are we going to have some arena-like system? Which one of the PvP formats will it be? What are your thoughts?
I think they're laying the groundwork to make this a permanent. I think they're looking at, these are all trial runs, right? The quick draft, the balanced draft, the normal classic, to see what kind of engagement they get. They're tweaking with the scoring system as well to probably measure, hey, how much does this work? And hopefully they add it as a daily, and you get to choose which one you want to do. So that I want to do quick draft and get it over with, or I'm feeling more like I want to really get into this. The only way something like this has legs is they make it into competitive. That's the only thing I can see here. to run tournaments and things like that. But I think there's going to be a ranking system because that's the thing to get people engaged. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's PvP exclusive characteristics that they introduce later on certain characters. That's something that's way out
I
there.
didn't even think about that. Now you ruined my day.
Yeah, if it really takes off, I could see them say they've already done in Arena, right, with Black Order, so they can do in PvP this guy, so they can revive like Night Nurse or something. Anyway, just those are my thoughts. I kind of jumbled a little bit, but what do you think this is going to turn out? Let me summarize by saying my ideal state would be it becomes a permanent part of the game. There is a ranking system with milestones and weekly rewards and maybe a daily objective, but you get to pick the style that you want to use, and it all counts towards it.
Okay. So this will definitely go in that direction. Again, Scopely's invested too much time, energy, and money into it just to have it as a fun thing on the side. So it'll definitely become a formal arena-like daily objective as well as ranking. I think this is the home of the milestone characters in that Symbiote Spider-Man and Emma, probably Captain Marvel, and Coulson will have some sort of store or some sort of orb or something, so they can actually not just have to keep introducing them into the milestone because they want to do new characters. So I think those characters plus new releases will go that method, and they will not reduce the game time in other modes. So this will be yet more time in the game.
Oh, so you think they'll leverage it as a release method?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yep. I mean, what else is? I mean, so the ranking, I'm number one is, and get some sort of rewards like Arena is great, but unless you have a store behind that, unless you have a character behind that, I don't think it'll be enough of a draw.
Okay, so not just milestones and ranking, but actually some kind of other currency that we're tracking, which means more time in game, especially if the next topic. Well, let's topics down.
Yeah. Let's go to Blitz right away. Because that one. So here's the key question: if you've ever listened to the show for more than 5 minutes, we've talked about some form of this. Are we going to see any fundamental changes to Blitz, like automation, or anything that really cuts down on the amount of time in game on Blitz?
I mean, they promised it. I really hope so. I think with the introduction of these other things, they have to, if they want to, one, keep their promise, and two, save people from burnout. I think leveling the rewards is one step in that direction. But who was chasing really like the first spot other than some people, right? So they need to introduce the automation or the sim of Blitz to a certain extent. Or restructure the cooldown, something so that when you do have time, you can kind of knock it all out and get it over with, as opposed to this constant all-day event thing. But I can't see them doing that, so at least give us the automation piece.
And as the college football season has kicked off here in the United States, we'll give a shout out to Lee Corso. Not so fast. They will do no changes to amount of time in Blitz. They did not promise anything, so they said they would review the amount of time, which means no commitment whatsoever. They have done what they're going to do until we are fundamentally fed up and rage.
So this low quality time, you don't think they think Blitz is high quality time then?
No, they know it's low quality time, but they know you are in the game playing, and one of their key metrics is how long are you playing. Yeah. And they will not in any shape or way form change their business model. They're not going to change. It is what it is. The only thing they did with the changes was to give us more shards so we feel like we're getting more for our time. And the other trick they did was reduce the amount of points that you get. So it seems like, for those that have been around, I'm not blitzing as much. I used to stop at 10 million. Well, now that takes you 30% longer to get there. So,
yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the Soothsayer Creative, guaranteed stamp of approval. Well, not stamp of approval, but guaranteed statement there. All right. And then finally, The infamous, are we getting any quote-unquote new content? So we've already heard about Dark Dimension 4. My skin crawls when I think about that. We've got the beginnings of the Do More campaign. I thought for sure we were beginning Chapter 2 at this point. It's now been several weeks, but we didn't get it. Are we going to get just those? Are we going to get something fundamentally new to refresh the game?
I think, unfortunately, this year looks like we are not. I really hope in 2021 for their roadmap, when they announce something early in the year, they talk about whatever that is. Not even a new raid. I don't think we're even going to get that. I think they said we're going to balance, difficulty on the existing raids, so we're not even getting a new raid. They're getting creative with the way they do these milestones, but it's a rehash of the same old stuff. I want to see some kind of boss type of fight that requires some alliance participation, and maybe something else solo. I don't know, infinite towers, something. But again, we say this, and at the same time we're saying we're spending too much time. So
I was going to ask, are you saying you either do you kick off the existing raid, or you kick off a boss fight? Is maybe how you could do it?
Yeah, it's got to be an option. Or again, if they fix some of the other aspects, then this kind of takes care of itself. But I just don't. This year, I don't see anything new. They basically said what they're gonna do. So DD4 is as good as it gets, and new content for them means 2 more Doom War campaigns, which is basically just hard missions.
Okay, so come June of 2021, will we have anything really new?
I hope so, but it's probably going to be later next year, if anything.
This isn't the hope category here. Is it a yes or a no?
I don't think so.
Okay. Agreed. We will not get anything new by the end of the year beyond Dark Dimension 4 that we don't want, Gear Tier 15 that we don't want, Character Level 80 that we don't want. We will get Doom War, both the 2 remaining chapters, by Thanksgiving. I would want it a hell of a lot sooner, but we're only going to get it by Thanksgiving. And we will get nothing new by June of 2021. All right, so now that I've depressed everyone, let's switch topics. I thought it was good just for us to take a step back and talk about some of our predictions and some of our things. I will, in a future week, Frid, ask us to come up with our Christmas wish list.
Okay.
And see, again, we always want to steer towards the positivity. If you don't provide solutions, don't expect solutions. Is what I always say to people. So we're going to come back with that in a few weeks, in time, well in advance of Christmas, that we'll come up with some ideas there. All right, so let's switch gears to our usual starting point of gearing and leveling.
Yep, and I'll try to keep it short because I know we always go a little over, but X-Force, Creative, I know, you're poo-pooing on the team. You think it sucks. You think they're a waste.
Have other things that are a higher priority.
You'd be proud of me. I'm farming 3 characters and mutant gear every day. No 10 characters like I normally do. I'm past that. So I farm Negasonic, Ironheart, and Elsa. She's getting almost there to 7. It's taking forever. But the rest goes to mutant gear. So I got him past the parking lot. Okay. And I did the ultimate T4 on Negasonic and X23. And I think that combination, tier 11, level 70 is where they're at, except Deadpool. I need to get him to level 70 tonight. That's where it became effective. So now they're sure to auto win in 8.3 in Blitz. You just let them run and they kill everything. And I showed you a little punch up on a flight deck, not that impressive, with the Mercs, but it was like not even close. Like after the first turn that Negasonic took, everybody was like in the red. It was ridiculous. So I'm going to keep trying some more bigger punch-ups against the mercenaries so that we can really know if this has been worth it. And I'm going to push Negasonic and X23 to tier 13. They use adamantium, and unstable cloth. The one you thought was ballistic weave. So I have a bunch of those because I thought Invisible Woman was going to be 14,
Yeah.
but I never did. So I'll use it on Negasonic.
Okay.
Have you tried anything here with this team? Creative. Have you tried X-Force at all, or yours are pitiful like your Fantastic Four?
Those are two different categories. Fantastic Four got the love. They are dramatically better off and are winning in Blitz pretty regularly, easily now, since I've done a couple extra T4s. So I don't have any experience on X-Force beyond the beginning of a Blitz and autoing through like tier 3 or whatever, because they're very low. So no. So I know you had the draw of X23. You like that character, so I'm going to ask the same question as last week. Now that you have them to what you deem as a good team, meaning that they are sure to auto win in Blitz, and they're doing what you want to do in other mid-game modes, what would you recommend to a mid-tier player, or even an in-game player like me that's going to level one of those to help with war offense? Are you still sticking with Fantastic Four? Or are you giving X-Force some love? Or do you want to back out and just wait a week for some more testing?
Yeah, I mean, I actually talked to our war captain, Rome, about this same thing. He's in your boat. Those two teams kind of low for him. And I actually said, well, it's dependent on your gear, right? The problem with X-Force is all mutant gear. And then you have Emma on top. So that's a problem, right? I've opened a bajillion... those blitz orbs of mutant gear. I got lucky following your method, of going to the specific spot. Mm-hmm. Yep, and then doing the find and opening from there. Man, it was raining those, what is it called? The little orange dots.
Cytoplasm.
And the DNA thing. It was like, yes, this is exactly what I need. The ribosomes, not as much because I don't care about those. So anyway, the point being, if you're a Fantastic Four, you're talking about a bio crunch, right? Yep. And now you have Inhumans, which is another bio crunch with Black Bolt. So that's and not to mention all the Avengers and Young Avengers and all that stuff. So that's what will drive the decision. I do think they are better for war at taking out some of the newer meta teams, but they do need to be. They're like 270 now. I'm going for 300 on them. I think that's when they start functioning as they are intended. So
that's funny. It only have to be about 300K.
But I wouldn't say it's like Wakanda that even then they still it's not a Wakanda situation.
Okay.
Even Fantastic Four for me, they're at 320 and they're cooking now. Mm-hmm. They used to do punch-ups at 200, but against like defenders and stuff like that. Right. Now they can take on some serious other teams. But if you're into lacking war offense like we are, I think you have to go with one of those two. Okay. To me, they're better than Power Armor, let's say.
Yeah, I think Power Armor's kind of reached its limit in a lot of ways.
It's pretty inconsistent.
Yeah. You get one character down and they fall apart too fast.
But we'll keep reporting on the X-Force.
Okay, so we've been reporting for weeks now. We've been waiting for you to finally... Again, Creative is 2.5 months behind Frid, but he comes out a better version because we let Frid make the mistakes. And that's what our listeners are expecting. So next week, we're going to give the definitive answer.
The final answer.
The final answer. The final countdown. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll edit that out later. Anyway, okay. What else?
I know. It not a Black Order slam dunk by any means, but they're getting very close to fulfilling their destiny. It is a lot of investment, though, so let's just leave it at that for now.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. I did deviate. That's why Deadpool is not level 70, and I took training mats to Wave 1 Avengers to get him to the parking lot. I have that 7 Red Star Hulk that you remember, and I want to put him in defense. So, I think they're already in defense. I just want to beef it up a little bit. So, more to come there. There's a later project, but I hear it's a decent team for war. Next topic is a sad one, and I'm declaring Frid Luck to be officially dead.
Oh, no.
I try to open Electro red orbs with T theory, with my daughter, with all kinds of theories, and I got two.
Wait, your daughter's still not making it work?
Nope.
Okay, the
Even
luck is definitely gone then.
yeah, the swarm orbs, I got him I think three times in the middle for 14 twice and 16 once. The rest was all on the sides. So I ended with a 4 and a little bit into 5. Remember, I got 5 Proxima and Taskmaster back then.
Mm-hmm.
Same event structure. And Emma Frost, of course. I had 1 red star. I bought the second. I bought the third. So I know what creative feels like now. I'm waiting for the 4th to show up. And she is in the... she's almost at 4 yellows. Okay. And then I'll get the 4th red.
Now, Frid, most of these characters that have come through recently were like, we're not that interested in them, which means you probably haven't spent any money. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Methinks, So you're basically being punished by Scopely for curtailing your spending.
I need to play tribute. Drop another offer. X23 was the last one, basically, right?
That's a while ago, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So the luck was cooking, every red stars galore.
Yeah.
And now dead. So I guess let's see if something exciting comes. That I don't think so, but we'll see. Okay, last couple of things, and I'll wrap up my section, is DD3. As you well know, even the second time around, global nodes, especially nodes 7 and 8, are pointless nodes.
They're trash.
There have been 2 occasions where I can't even get the special of Phoenix off when sending a sacrificial. I know you don't do sacrifices, but I put Colossus sometimes to try to help, and even then, so it's a sacrificial just to get rid of some of the ults so that you can actually try to play an actual match. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's pointless, and I just don't have enough global characters either. But it's pretty frustrating. But I thought it was gonna be done today. I think tomorrow it will be over, and then I can move on with my life and see what I can do with the cosmic and city nodes. So not fun at all. And I got top 1% for Baron Zemo Blitz.
Wow, very nice.
And I'm trying to do the same again. All right, great.
Well, and we keep suspecting, or you were saying that people were suspecting that the second Blitz will be higher than the first because of the red stars, and I say not so fast on that as well. But what are you thinking?
I still think so, but the prediction seems to lean towards your way, where people are like, I'm burnt out on this guy. But I think between the news of him being so good and red stars, we'll see higher scores.
Okay. All right. And so for me, the Black Order has been my priority. I said I have higher priority things than X-Force and other things. And so I am, I forget how many training mats I have left, but it's a paltry number because all of the Black Order and Thanos are level 75. All of them except Cull are T14. And the only reason Cole is not done is because I don't have molecular scans. I'm a good 15 plus short. But I spent a lot of time getting them up, and I'm tempted to start using them in Arena a bit more. But Cole, of course, makes the team work, so we'll see what happens. I did, since Thanos was T14'd, I should say, thanks to that wonderful event, which I would love for them to come back. That was a very sad day the other day, earlier in the week, that the event finally went away and we stopped getting all of the mini uniques. So
the lessons one? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the lessons learned. I mean, we were easily getting twice as many points than we need per day just for what we do. So the average player should easily get all of those. It was just raining glorious mini uniques, but the well has dried up. So anyway, with Thanos T14'd, I did put him into defense, and I'm using left to right Maw, Sinister, Black Bolt, Thanos, and Phoenix, and they are sticking a lot more than my legendary soup team. And I've played against this team, and basically it prevents Maul from getting one shot early on, even from teams like we use with Yo-Yo and Captain Marvel. Thanos goes pretty early and taunts up and prevents Maul from dying. And so it does make it to be a harder fight. I'm still not just sitting at rank 10, but I only go down to about 25 or so, and I'm easily getting in the top 20 with minimal effort, which is fantastic. And then last week, I said I deviated from our recommendations. I spent Red Star promotion credits on Johnny Storm so that my Fantastic Four would be a little bit higher. And as soon as I did that, as soon as we finished the show, I took the Fantastic Four and Fury into the final node of the Doom War, Chapter 1. And I was able to 1-star the node. And to make it worse, Johnny Storm died within 30 seconds. So I wasted my 50 credits, and unfortunately we're at our reset time. I have 100 silver promotion credits. I could go spend a bunch of my elite 5-star orb and get 50 to take Thanos, but I'll just wait. So so again, stick to the plan. High-level characters, best characters only for those elite credits. So, complete waste of time. I will go back at some point and try again. I got what I wanted out of it for now, and I don't need that node. So, and then I will talk about Dark Dimension 3, Cry Dimension 3. I finally finished the global nodes. I got, I had Ultron at the end for that last 8th node. And then I one-shot the first cosmic node, one-shot the second cosmic node, and then the third node, it took me, I think, 3 or 4 attempts to get through. And I am into the meat grinder of Mission 12. Woof. That one's a rough one. So I've taken in 2 teams the first 2 days just to get all the ults all the way, and I got about 5 million damage. So I'm hoping I'm set for the rest of the way, but man, that's a lot of rough characters.
Oh, yeah. That's a little tough, but it's nothing compared to the others.
Well, that's good. So
the global stuff. Ugh.
Yep. So I'm probably a month plus away. I don't know. I don't do refreshes, so I'll have to rethink through it. But certainly I'll be done by Thanksgiving is the plan. All right. Well, that's just a quick update on gearing and leveling. Let's switch to the news.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
And really, we're going to be talking more about rumors and Datamines more than anything else, because you probably read the blog post anyway. And so, Frid, some of those rumored characters appear to be coming. Why don't you cover that?
Yeah, so we've got 3 characters mined, from the Datamine. Again, the guys that bring you that roster organizer, I think they're the ones that run the Datamine, Zara Tools. And they found how they put the blitz. That's what they put in first. So it doesn't mean they're blitz, but that's how they're coming. The first one is a symbiote by the name of Anti-Venom. Another symbiote, Scream. And finally, She-Hulk. All of these have been rumored. So I think we have our 5 symbiotes. Ooh. And then people are thinking, what are they going to do with She-Hulk? She could be a Young Avenger. She could be they're talking about A-Force, this other team or tag. It involves Captain Marvel and some other females. Or what are they going to do with She-Hulk? So anyway, rumors, so nothing confirmed yet, but probably very accurate. Any thoughts on these 3 creative about? Do you have any affinity? I don't know any of these characters. I'm not familiar with them. So
I've seen She-Hulk in the past, and I always laugh when I see her because, and people are like, "Why is he laughing at She-Hulk?" Well, if you think about the Hulk, he's like one of the biggest characters out there. He's massive. Mm-hmm. She-Hulk is just like a muscular-looking woman. It's like, come on, you still have to overly sexualize the woman, even though she's a Hulk. So I always thought that was funny. She's like pencil thin, just muscular, next to a massive dude of the Hulk. But I'm always excited about the rounding out the symbiotes. Hopefully we get a full team. We can just run that team in U7 and beyond. But I'm also sad-faced because what are we going to have? 3-star symbiotes for 6+ months. So, Maybe in June 2021, we'll have a new raid and we can use our full symbiote team to its full effect.
Yes. Yeah. A couple other things as it relates to what's apparently coming. Achievements for running this. You love this. Dark Dimension 1, 3, and 4 up to 15 times. 15, just like the DD2,
Oh my God.
remember? To get that little portrait. Hopefully it's something better than a little portrait enhancement. So that's coming apparently. New challenges to her category. So 6, that's 12 new challenges. The first one recommends level 76 gear tier 14. And I think 4 red stars. And then the last one is a gear tier 15, level 80, 5 red stars recommendation. So you can start to imagine what that may look like, that last challenge.
And for those that have listened for a while, they know my stress level has gone up. The challenges by far, next to Dark Dimension 3, was like some of the most stressful things. And I would do it over and over and over.
I could only imagine what this is going to be like.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
All right. And lastly, this was a surprise to me, or maybe this is usually the case, but they're doing some kind of event around Doc Ock. An event meaning milestones, kind of like the chimichanga types where you get these sinister orbs. So again, I don't remember this being normal. They're doing some double energy, double gold, and they're 3x catalysts. All this stuff around Doc Ock. I think this is a good idea to do when a new important legendary character comes out. And we'll do the numbers when we have the information.
Do you think this is because people aren't excited about Doc Ock?
Could be, because I hear the people are kind of lukewarm about him. Okay. They don't really know if he's going to be any good.
Or at least good outside of war.
Right.
Okay.
Like the other legendaries have been a lot of plug and play for the most part, because Iron Man or Nick Fury are not really. But you could plug him into some other teams and they do stuff.
Okay.
Like Shuri, for sure, Invisible Woman, all of those do things on their own, no matter what team. Phoenix, crazy. Right, but Doc Ock seems to first need his team, and second, maybe have that war specificity. We'll see.
Okay. And then also in the news, in the blog post.
Oh, God. This is where my prediction dies.
X-23 is going to be farmable, most likely the day before the event at this rate, for Doc Ock. So again, we are seeing that officially legendaries are paywalled. X-23 is going to the War Store. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Wow, this is much worse than our prediction last week. So one, we didn't get the next chapter in the Doom War. We're still waiting for those mini ukes, and the event that we were having was gone away. And it's a War Store farm, which is incredibly painful and slow. Wow, this is horrendous. So, yeah.
Well, think about, now there's Sif, which you need to unlock all these legendary chain, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now you have X-Force for another legendary, Nobu, whatever, and then Sinister. Oh my God.
Plus Pyro.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying,
for
like,
late game, yeah.
Like, if you're a new player, where do you even start? And they also have not increased the slots. It's just the 3, so it's random. This is a disaster.
Yep. And I still haven't heard news. Yep, we're still going to cover that. Blitz. No automation of matches. The mode still does not help players learn to do punch-ups. Yo-Yo is still only in the premium orbs. Maybe her and Min could go into that new PvP store. So
I got a magic seed and I got 15 of her, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, I've seen her too, but I need 120. So yay, 15. And then finally, no changes to improve our low quality time. So we are running a bit long, and I did want to spend a lot of time on our predictions. So let's trim a little bit here. I want to cover Conspiracy Corner real quick, and we'll do a little bit of Alliance Management. Will be a little bit longer, which people seem to want. But Conspiracy Corner. Number 96, Magneto's 5th Red Star, was given to us for free, in quotes. You only had to play for hours upon hours of blitzing. And we received it as part of these second strike milestones, which all of us were elated to see. He's a fantastic character. The Brotherhood is a fantastic team. But I think they gave us his 5th Red Star to ensure that he is the highest damage dealer on the Brotherhood. And you may say, okay, who cares? Well, we care because when you fight the mercenaries and you go against Taskmaster, one of the 10,000 lines of his passive is that he will have a chance to apply taunt on the highest damage dealer. So, I would suspect that without the 5 red star situation going on, that Juggernaut would probably have been the highest damage dealer, or have the highest damage number.
Mm-hmm.
But this ensures that Magneto will always get the taunt and likely die earlier on, and makes the fight against the mercenaries harder, so that you have to go look at the X-Force and other solutions. They still are a great counter. They can do a little bit of a punch-up, but I think they could have really demolished the team without that. So that's my conspiracy of the week. We haven't had a good one in a while, so I wanted to throw that one in.
Man, that's a deep one. If they're that, ahead of the thought process here. I'm sure there was.
Why else would you give 5 red stars on a legendary character? And yes, he doesn't get the attention that he used to when we started playing the game. They were the meta of Arena. But why else would you give 5 red stars on a great character?
I mean, he's still amazing. What he does, nobody does. That crazy thing of bunching people up, nobody does that. And the blind Taskmaster does, but the bunching up, that's only him. Still pretty cool to see.
Yep.
Yeah, you may be right. They may be that nefarious with this.
Who knows? We're always looking beyond. Anyway. All right, and finally, we've been wanting to cover alliance management. And so, we have been doing some tweaks within the alliance. Some others are taking the lead. I've taken a step back a bit, but we have noticed, with player burnout, we've talked about that. We are pushing more and more every month, every week. And we were finding that we were struggling to achieve Greek 100 as a particular example. And so we wanted to talk about, managing some of that. And, that's awful, ambiguous. But, if you are struggling to achieve a new milestone or a particular daily milestone, we always say evaluate why. Is it a group of very select players that are always missing their final few attacks? Is there a systemic issue that, you don't have a particular global, cosmic, or city characters high enough for, say, the Alpha Raid? But evaluate what the problem is. Talk with your alliance team, talk with your strike teams, and evaluate why. For us, we had some players that were just lagging behind. And so the first solution is the most dramatic, and that is cut the dead weight. And so if someone does not align to your alliance mentality, your play style, whatever that may be. You may be super casual and someone is yelling and screaming, do more attacks. Or you may be super hardcore and you can't get a guy to show up and do attacks. But whatever that is, if there is a fundamental difference in a select group of your player base, then you're going to have problems. You're always going to have stress and strife because of that. So first, we've talked about this in the past. Outline what your goals are. We have a channel. It's called Stars Rules. And it's very clear. These are our daily expectations. This is what we expect. And we do a strike and a warning system. And so the other piece is, if you just start cutting people left and right without any reasoning, it causes a lot of mistrust, confusion, and discord in the alliance. So if someone is missing those daily goals, give strikes, give warnings, make sure that you are clear about what those expectations are. Make sure it's clear and they get the opportunity to improve before you cut them out, unless they're just a cancer and they're causing all kinds of strife. So
Yep.
that one is the most dramatic. Fred, what do you want to say on that one?
Yeah, no, I can't stress this enough. We've had some snap decisions in the past where somebody really gets in an officer's nerves, and this could be because disrespect or just not a good attitude. But even still, like that's very dramatic, right? That's a cancer type of person. But even in those cases, it is better to kind of pave the way by getting a little bit more strict with the rules. Sometimes we relax, and that's a problem because then it's inconsistent. But you can use the strike and warning system to let people know that they're lagging behind, because a lot of times it happens via informal conversation. Somebody pings them, hey, remember to do your donation, remember to do this. We would let them fail so that you can then strike, so that way you have this paper trail, and that creates more trust. When people see, it doesn't feel like it came out of nowhere, right? It's like, oh, okay, this guy has been lagging for a while and he knew, and it's public, so he's gone.
Yeah, most players aren't really looking at the other strike teams. They're not looking at the other side of the raid, so they may not even see some of that stuff. So, but they casually know that person through Discord and game. So, but and the other thing in and around that space is if someone is on the chopping block, they're on a watch list, they've got strikes, line up the replacement first. It hurts your alliance to be fighting at 22, 23, 21 players in war. It hurts in raids, even if they're just doing minimal amount of attacks. It still helps the alliance overall. So line up the replacement first. And the other thing is, if you want to be nice and the person isn't a cancer, find them a more casual alliance that they can go to. And that's one of the benefits that we have of being in the family, is we have a broad range of hardcore to casual. And we do have landing spots for people that have life and things going on outside that require less game time. One of the other things, so switching off of that, is looking at raid start times. And I give credit to one of our other officers that what we found is we do have quite a group of folks, and I'm not trying to say negative things about them, but they have a different schedule. And we have people that are abroad, not in the United States, and work evening hours, so they're like a U.S. player. And we have U.S. people that work, nighttime, and their hours are more like an international player. But we found that we have a solid group of people that are doing kind of alternative schedules, particularly in the COVID era. And they were struggling to do all of their attacks in a particular calendar day. And so one of our officers proposed that we push our raid start times back to more of midday U.S. time. And that gives the U.S. people the opportunity, those that get up later, that allows them to do kind of what we were doing of starting the first part of their day and going through into the night. And then everyone else who, they can start in and around the middle of the day, and then they can have a catch-up activity in the morning where they can do one more, two more fights just to close things out. And, Fred, I wouldn't have proposed this at all. My mentality was just get up earlier and start your raid attacks.
It doesn't work. But no, that thing in the morning where you can look across and maybe clean something up, that has been really good for me to help finish out nodes. Or now my lane mates are awesome, so they're always on top of it. It's a fight to get nodes in alpha. It's like, come on, man, I need to get some points. But so I don't have that problem. But if there was somebody that was lagging, you can kind of catch up and then talk to them and say, hey, man, we need you to do more attacks. But it seems to be working, and I didn't think it would. I thought it would just shift everything and the same problem would happen, but it seems to be a better solution. I was surprised.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it sucks because it's kind of out of my normal kind of daily cadence of kind of how I like to do things and get things done before the workday. But it's all about the alliance in terms of hitting those goals. And while we're saying the middle of the day works for us, that could be worse for another alliance. So it's really about seeing when your players can start. When are your active times? If everybody really logs in more in the evening, then kick off the raid in the evening, and then you have your 5 solid attacks, and they can just kind of figure it out in the morning or afternoon. But look at what a start time difference could be, particularly if you're an in-game player, you're trying to do Greek Raid 100, you're trying to push in Ultimus raids. I think we covered everything there. I mean, the other component we always talk about this is be efficient with your raid attacks. And just to make a plug for that, as always, you get 9 free attacks throughout the day, and you always want to stop your raid attacks for the next day, 12 hours before the start of the raid, or really whenever you start. So just keep that in mind as you all are evaluating. You want to make sure that most people are starting in and around the same time and getting to use those full 9 attacks so that you can do things more easily. Okay, and then the last one, this is a plug for not necessarily our leads, but really helping out all of our alliance leaders out there, and that is reduce the burden on your lead. And so if you are always having to be harassed to do something, or you're always consistently doing something wrong, that is nothing but stress and strife for your alliance leader. This is a game. We always want it to be a game. We want it to be a fun for all. And so to me, if you're not helping the alliance and you're not doing things the right way, you're hurting the alliance. And so this one's an easy one. Do your donation. I can't say how easy this is. Yes, it's towards the bottom of the objectives, but do your donation. It's the easiest thing in the game. It pisses me off to no avail when people don't do the easiest thing in the game. I can see how you get busy in a day and all that kind of stuff, and so you can't do 9 raid attacks, that kind of stuff. But this is the easiest thing out there. But Fred, any other kind of parting thoughts on reducing the burden on the leads?
No, I mean, this is a good couple of ones. There's other stuff we could get into, but I think this is good for now. The constant chasing down of people to hey, do your war attack, hey, do your raid, hey, what. I think it's gotten a lot better because we've implemented some of the points that you've just covered, and there'll be a future episode where we'll talk about some of the things that we did. But good members, and they go through ebbs and flows. So again, if you listen to one of the earliest episodes, just identify what kind of member do you have, and you know what to expect from them. And that can help you as well with communication and everything. But if you're a member of an alliance, help your leads out, do your basic work, not necessarily the extra. You can always do extra, but at least do the bare minimum, so that way you don't have to have your officers annoying you, because it's not fun for anybody then. It feels like a more of a job or work, and we want it to be a game.
Absolutely. All right, any other parting thoughts, Fred?
No, I think we've gone a little bit longer than usual. We've got some more things to cover next week. I think there's some numbers around Blitz, stores, I think U7 that you wanted to cover. So we'll get to that on the next show. We'll see when X23 shows up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's after the event at this rate. I mean, how people are going to panic, refresh the store? Anyway, we'll report back on all of that. But can you tell our listeners how to continue the conversation with us?
Absolutely. So old school method, you can send us an email at rng@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Twitter, which we've been a little lazy on. We need to post some things out on Twitter, but we are at rngendgame there. And then, of course, our Alliance family public Discord, the Ragnarok family. We did provide the recruiting link last week. We have made some changes there, so you can just go to the public one, and if you are interested, there is a channel of I want to join Ragnarok that you can click on, and that will give you the details for the Ragnarok Alliance. But we definitely are a little bit more active in Discord, so feel free to stop by, tell us what you want to hear about, tell us what you like, and we'll always look to make our listeners happy. Thanks, everybody. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks, everybody.
Talk next week.